Hi, I'm Lars Fenin from Berlin, and we are now here in my studio in Berlin Mitte. I'm musician, producer, DJ, and live act, and producing music from dub till techno. I started music in 86, 87 with a band and usually pop wave stuff. Then I moved over to Berlin in 1993 and I got more into dub and reggae actually, like Matt Professor, Lee Perry, Dub Syndicate and all this stuff. I was founding a reggae band here, actually I played like 6 years here in Berlin in a reggae band. The club scene was evolving in Berlin and at that time drum and bass was a big thing also. The energy of the bass and the tension and was really interesting stuff going on for me. And apart from the reggae band, I started a small studio with an old Atari computer and only one keyboard. I got more into production and how to use the effects and the computer. I left the reggae band then in Berlin and started my own projects. It was only Atari ST computer and some real playing equipment. So it developed more and more and around 2000 I met Marco from Schick-Katapult, die Raumschmiere, and Marco was kind of interesting in my music, so I made my first live act on a Schick-Katapult party at that time in a squad house, I think. And and then they were interested in putting out my first record, which was an honor for me, having my own record in my hand. And so I changed, also my studio got bigger and I changed from the Atari to the PC, got more equipment and my music spread around. I was also playing live at that time a lot with my MPC later on and some synthesizers on stage. I was always a fan of playing real hardware on stage. Still I like to play with synthesizers on the stage. So in 2008 I was thinking maybe I start my own label. And at that time I was doing it alone, but later Lars and Gunnar Hemmeling, two friends of mine, they joined me, and so we founded the label Dog Records, which is an output for like more ambient electronica stuff, at least a little bit of dub and some techno. Till now I released a lot of stuff and I think it's like 15 or 20 EPs and of course digital stuff, long players for my homie label Schick-Katapult. My last long player was called Lighthouse. It came out like 2017, I guess. But nowadays I'm not focusing more like producing tracks. I'm more like jamming and eventually pick up the guitar or pick up the bongo, playing some real instruments to it. So my influences were the teenager years with Depeche Mode. Actually, it was my first record I bought. Actually, I think, and I was like really nice, sweet melodies, synth lines, and also like very deep and powerful harmonics from the singing. Later on, it was like more. We were like hanging out with friends, and one guy had a record from a band called Dub Syndicate, and of course we got a little high at that time. We were like in our 18 and 20s, so. There was a lot of dub and reggae we were listening to and just like hang out having parties. And that also influenced me in the beginning a lot. Deep bassline stuff and the tight drummings of the reggae. And also but the production wise, all the craziness, like how people develop the music just with a mixing console. So the dubbing is a very, very important part of my music. I like to play with the effects and the delay and phases and stuff a lot, so this will be always in my music, I think. I like German krautrock stuff, which is also very repetitive and having waves going on and back and guitars coming over and flowing. And ambient stuff, of course, like the Orb. I'm a very bbig fan of the Orb and Brian Eno and all this kind of stuff. Production-wise, I use Cubase as my main program on the PC. I'm jamming around with the MPC in the beginning and finding a beat or like a hook line also. If I got the beat ready and maybe some samples going on the MPC, I'm changing over to maybe bass lines and synths and stuff. I'm a big fan of the Alpha Uno one from Roland. I use it a lot for chords and pads and stuff. If the track is laid, then there comes some effects and maybe some weird stuff. I just like take the tambourine or something and just blowing into the mic and take this also on the track. And then I just mix it down on the record console. I'm not doing it in the DAW or in the program, the Cubase. I just mix it on the console, and then it goes onto DAT. So I make different mixes on the DAT. From the DAT, I choose later which mix I like the most. So it goes back onto the computer, and then I maybe cut it till the lens is maybe ready or I'm satisfied with it. So for me in the studio, it's like a kid like playing with his Lego blocks and like putting it together every time in a new way, and it's every time a new impression, and it's very exciting.